33-year-old driver from Grapevine, Texas, lost control of his car in the third turn.
The Indianapolis 500 is North America's premier open-wheel, single-seater championship, with cars routinely hitting speeds over 230 miles per hour. Despite its captivating display, the event has witnessed many serious crashes. 4 of the most horrific ones stand out as they became catalysts for life-saving safety regulations and innovations in IndyCar. Art Pollard, born in 1927, built his reputation as a steady and respected competitor in American open-wheel racing long before the 1970s. He began racing on dirt tracks in the Pacific Northwest during the 1950s, where he dominated modified competition and captured the Western States Modified Championship. Pollard transitioned to USAC Championship cars in 1965 and steadily carved out a solid career that included 84 starts, 30 top 10 finishes, and 2 victories in 1969 at Milwaukee and Dover. He made his Indianapolis 500 debut in 1967 and became known as a consistent performer rather than a headline star. Fellow drivers and fans admired his sportsmanship and humility, often describing him as a true gentleman of the paddock. By 1973, at 46 years old, Pollard remained competitive and optimistic, believing that his experience and improved machinery could finally deliver a breakthrough at Indy. During practice on May 12, 1973, the final morning session before pole day qualifying at the Indianapolis 500, Pollard was running at around 192 miles per hour in Turn 1 when his number 64 Cobra Firestone Eagle Offenhauser car suddenly drifted high and clipped the outside wall. The impact destabilized the car instantly. It spun hard, dug into the grass on the inside portion of the track, and flipped end over end as it traveled roughly 1,450 feet across the track. The car broke apart during the sequence, and fuel ignited, engulfing it in flames.
Art Pollard crashes in turn 2. The car bursting into flames, flipping and sliding upside down.
Pollard is killed, widely loved and respected in the racing community.
Pollard was partially thrown from the cockpit and suffered fatal injuries, including severe burns and multiple fractures. He was transported to Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis, but was pronounced dead just over an hour after the crash. Pollard's death contributed to the difficulties experienced during the month of May in 1973. His accident exposed significant safety shortcomings at the speedway, including the nature of the concrete walls and the vulnerability of fuel systems during high-speed impacts. While no single mechanical failure was officially blamed, the crash reinforced concerns about escalating speeds and limited energy absorption on impact. Swede Savage was a 26-year-old American IndyCar driver and student of racing legend Dan Gurney. He began soapbox derby racing at the age of 5, moved up to racing quarter-midget cars, and then, at age 12, to go-kart racing. By his mid-teens, he was racing motorcycles competitively. He won the 1970 USAC Phoenix 200 and drove for Pat Patrick's STP-backed team in 1973. The 1973 Indianapolis 500 was scheduled to begin on Monday, May 28th, but the race start was preceded by a 4-hour rain delay. On that day, a near-fatal start line accident involving Salt Walther's car sprayed burning methanol into the stands, injuring spectators and breaking the catch fence. Shortly after the crash, heavy rain returned, preventing any resumption that day and leading to a postponement to Wednesday, May 30th, just 18 days after Art Pollard's death. Savage qualified 4th on the grid and had led laps 43 to 54 in his number 40 Patrick Racing Eagle Offenhauser car. On lap 59, Savage exited turn 4 after a pit stop. His car still carried around 75 gallons of methanol fuel, roughly 500 pounds, and a newly changed right rear tire. The exact cause remains in debate, but most witnesses report that the heavily fueled rear end of the car twitched on exit due to a new, cold tire, causing Savage to lose control. The car spun and veered sharply left across the track, plowed through the infield grass, and slammed head-on into the inner concrete retaining wall at nearly racing speed, or around 190 miles per hour.
Make a pit stop. That could give Savage the lead again. Yes, he is. Oh my God, it's Savage!
The race is stopped.
Wheels, engine, and body panels were torn off and scattered, and the methanol fuel instantly ignited in a massive fireball. Savage's cockpit slid out across the track and came to rest near the outside wall, trapped in flaming methanol. Remarkably, he remained conscious and moved in the wreckage, even attempting to escape the flames. In the middle of the chaos, a 23-year-old crewman named Armando Terran, working in the pits for Savage's teammate, was struck from behind by a fire truck reversing toward the crash site, and he passed away in the hospital. Meanwhile, Savage stayed conscious as rescuers extricated him and transported him to Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis. He had suffered third-degree burns over approximately 60% of his body. His face, arms, hands, and lungs were damaged by methanol flames, and both legs were fractured. Savage survived for 33 days before succumbing to his injuries on July 2nd. Gordon Smiley was a talented road racing champion who transitioned into American open-wheel racing. He began racing SCCA events as a late teenager and went on to win multiple titles. In fact, he set 25 track records and won 4 SCCA Midwest Divisional Championships. In 1979, he even moved to England to race in the British Aurora F1 series with the Surtees team, scoring 8 top 10 finishes and a dramatic last-lap victory at Silverstone. This success earned him a ride in U.S. IndyCar racing. By May 1982, Smiley had moved to the Fletcher Racing Team and was seeking a third Indy 500 start. He had already qualified for the 1980 and 1981 races and was aiming to break the 200 miles per hour barrier in qualifying this year. On the afternoon of May 15, 1982, the first day of time trials, Smiley climbed into his Fletcher Racing March 81C Cosworth during a warm-up run. He was not yet on a timed lap, but was preparing to start his official attempt. Approaching the third turn at the northeast of the oval, the car began to slide due to oversteering. Instinctively, he turned the wheel to the right to correct the slide. Almost immediately, however, the front tires snapped back to grip, and the car lunged sharply toward the outside wall of turn 3. The car slammed nose first into the concrete retaining wall at an extremely high speed. Estimates put Smiley's speed at roughly 190 to 200 miles per hour at the moment of impact.
Our Indianapolis car, Gordon Smiley going on 3 at this point. Suddenly the car veers slammed into that road, probably at more than 200 miles an hour. Gordon Smiley increase of speed. The question must be asked, surely, are we going too fast? Because a driver can surely never survive anything of this kind. The debris was held in by the fence that's specially designed for that. But as you can see, the car burst into a million pieces. A tragic accident.
Tragically, Smiley lost his life instantly from the trauma of the crash. The impact was horrific. Smiley lost his helmet amidst the accident and sustained fatal injuries to the head. In the minutes after the crash, the speedway went into an extended shutdown as safety and medical crews worked at turn 3. Smiley's death was the first fatality at Indianapolis since 1973, when Art Pollard and Swede Savage lost their life within 2 months. In fact, Gordon Smiley remains the last driver ever to die during Indy 500 qualifying. He was 36 years old. Eddie Sachs and Dave McDonald entered the 1964 Indianapolis 500 as established stars of U.S. motorsports. Sachs, nicknamed the Clown Prince of Racing, was a popular Indianapolis veteran who had won numerous championship races. He had finished second in the 1961 Indy 500 and third in 1962, and was known for his speed and showmanship. McDonald was a former drag racer and Corvette and Shelby driver from California. In the early 1960s, he had become one of the country's most successful sports car racers, winning dozens of events with his Corvette and Shelby Cobra. By 1964, he had been recruited by Carroll Shelby to drive a Cobra and even dabble in NASCAR, and he had signed a contract to make his Indy 500 debut in a new car. American open-wheel racing underwent a transition during the 1964 Indy 500. Rear-engine cars, notably the Jim Clark-driven Lotus, and various Novi and Ford-powered specials, were demonstrating clear speed advantages over the traditional front-engine roadsters. McDonald, in Sears Allstate Special No. 83 for Mickey Thompson's team, was racing in one of the new low-slung Fords, while Sachs drove his number 25 Ford V8 Roadster. On lap 2, as the cars accelerated after exiting turn 4, McDonald's car suddenly lost control, struck the inside wall, and burst into flame. His burning car then ricocheted off the wall and spun back onto the track toward oncoming race traffic, emitting a curtain of orange flames and thick black smoke. Sachs, running 2 car lengths behind, struck McDonald's car broadside. Sachs died instantly from massive trauma, and McDonald died around 2 hours later from burns and lung damage. Several other cars, such as those of Norm Hall, Ronnie Duman, Chuck Stevenson, Bobby Unser, and Johnny Rutherford, narrowly escaped the wreckage but were shaken or damaged. Under a red flag, emergency crews battled the flames. It was nearly 2 hours before the cleanup was complete and the race could resume. Investigators who examined the accident concluded that McDonald lost control due to possible aerodynamic error, as the car was originally engineered for 12-inch wheels, but Indy rules required 15-inch ones, which made the car too high and gave it less downforce, and there was no evidence of mechanical failure beyond the violent collision. The crash's high fatality drew attention to gasoline's intense fire compared to methanol. In response, USAC mandated methanol fuel for all Indy 500 cars starting in 1965. Later, engineers added safety features like tough, breakaway rubber bladders in fuel cells to contain fuel during impacts.